Women are difficult creatures to understand. All right, and it's been a while since I made a video like this, but I felt it was appropriate and needed for the young men of this current generation to understand just how to go about approaching life and not make the mistakes that I made in my younger days as well. See, I spent my younger years yearning and chasing after women before I even understood the idea that women need to chase men. Because ultimately, gentlemen, nothing is ever going to change the idea and the overall landscape of relationships, quite like the idea that women are attracted to men that will take care of them. It's foolproof. It's stood the test of time. Women are attracted to men that can take care of them because ultimately you will impregnate them. And those women will look for men that can take care of them, provide for them, have resources to defend them during their pregnancy. And if you can't deliver those resources, you're about as good as dead. I mean, it's basic survival instincts at that point. You can't fault women for this, honestly. You got to look at it from a basic sociological, psychological survival standpoint. All right. Men, we understand that we want to find something to pass our genes on to for the next generation. Not necessarily stay with that, but pass our genes on to and then find the next to pass our genes on to. Where women, they want to find something to have the genes passed on to them and provide them with a survival aspect. That way, their kids are able to pass on the genes as well. See, I think what most men get wrong with women nowadays is that they try to cater to them, and there's too many simps. There's plain and simply too many simps nowadays. Women don't understand because they haven't had to deal with the issue of finding a man that suits them. Whereas recently, there's been so many men that have been prying and pleading for women that they have the pick of the litter. You know, it's like you go out to choose a dog out of a set of litter, right? You have 12 dogs there. You have the runt, you have the alpha, you have a couple of genome deficiencies, and you have the regular dogs as well. And you're gonna pick the one that suits you best, the one that sniffs your hand and is the most friendly to you, and that's the dog you're gonna choose, right? As a human being, you're gonna choose a dog that you like the best. Well, women are no different. They're gonna choose the man that best suits them. And as soon as you understand that, you start to understand women, really. I mean, as soon as you understand that women choose the best of their options, right? And you got to keep in mind, women are a bit retarded. Women are very retarded. They're very easy to manipulate. They're very easy to control in their younger years. That's why in the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot of women that are either going to be 30 to 35 years old, and they're either A, going to be one of two groups, right? Either A, not married, or, well, I'm sorry, three groups actually. A, not married, never been married. Got to watch out for those ones. B, either been married and divorced, or C, they have kids and were married or not married and divorced. And those ones you really gotta steer clear of, because one man wants to take care of another man's kids. It's clear that those women made certain decisions that backfired on them, right? And who are we to take care of those other people's mistakes, right? I mean, granted, you as a Christian, you want those kids to grow up good, You want those kids to grow up with a father figure, but ultimately those kids won't respect you because you're not their father, and you never will fill in the father's steps. You know, I would say with women, you really have to understand how to take your own pace. The moment that a girl sees that you're like pleading for her, she has you in the upper hand. You can't let them have the upper hand ultimately. The moment you lower your guard and let them have the upper hand, you lose them, I would say. Women like mysterious men. Women like men that can't be contained in a box because they're women are such creative creatures, you know. Men we are real simple. Men, we are real very simple. We're not hard to figure out, you know. Whereas women, they're a whole fucking Rubik's cube, you know. Their brain is a real Rubik's cube. When I've gone about making dates with women, I would set myself up to have the best success. I would have a couple of dates set up on the same day. So let's say it's Saturday, right? I would set up 3 dates. I would set up one at 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock, right? Because I know at least one or two is going to cancel, right? At least one's going to cancel because women, they play to their best aspects, right? They say, what's my best choices here? What's my best plans? They choose the best plans and they cancel on the rest. If you're not their best plans, they're going to cancel on you. If you've ever set up a date and you've been told, oh, sorry, let's reschedule. Oh, something came up. That's a woman saying to you, you're not my best choice for today. Try again another time. Right? And I'm sure every man's been in this situation before, right? You need to understand how to let things go. As men, we have to take control of our emotions, all right? You have to take control of your emotions and not let things bother you. You have to understand how to take things on the chin and let things rub off your shoulder. Because if you're in the dating rest, if you're in the dating realm, if you're in the dating aspect, things are going to go astray. You're going to get canceled on. You're going to get bailed on. You're going to get ghosted, plain and simple. And some women are going to cancel on you just to see how you respond. And then that will reassure them that canceling is a good idea because of how you responded. If you leave them on red, guess what? That eats them alive. It tells them you don't care. And it's how you have to be. You have to show them that you don't care. Because when you show that you don't care to a woman, yes or no, if you see them or if you don't, if you have them or if you don't, it eats them alive. Because psychologically, a woman wants to be wanted. That is what reassures women. Just as men, we reassure ourselves by having women. Women reassure themselves by having men that want them. The sooner you figure that out, the better. All right? See, if you've ever studied psychology, you understand that our men and women's brains work very, very differently. Men, we work more on yes and no's, whereas women work more on possibilities, reassurances, sufficiencies, sufficiencies. I would say the best thing for a young man to do is focus on themselves, ultimately. Because if you're under 30, you're not even worthy most times of a relationship to women. Because what do you provide? Unless you're very well off, you most times don't provide anything in the long run for a woman. in terms of relationship and a marriage aspect, right? So in those younger years, focus on yourself. Have your fun, test the waters, but never lose sight of the focus, all right? Because understand this. A woman will change a man for the man that she wants to change. All right? A man that will change for a woman is a man that a woman will change. AKA, if you let a woman change you, she will change you out for another man that she can't change. Because ultimately, women want to make a man malleable. A woman will fall in love with a man that she can't change. Plain and simple. Because you stand your ground, you say what is what, and you don't let her have her way. She loves that shit. Now, a lot of women don't understand that aspect. A lot of women are very, very turned off to that aspect. And that's not a woman you want to be with. Because if you can't have your way, it's even said in the Bible, it is better to live on a corner of a roof than inside of a house with a quarrelsome woman. Because if you're in a house with a wife that does nothing but nag you, it's nothing but pain. It's nothing but suffering. And that's no way to live your life. For 25, 35, 45 years with a woman that does nothing but nag you. That's no way to live your life. So I would say find a woman that genuinely surprises you, a woman that doesn't backtalk, a woman that doesn't like put you down, a woman that is agreeable, submissive, even a woman that genuinely trusts and follows you would be the best thing for you. And they're hard to come by, trust me. But as men, you need to understand how to control your urges, control your wants and your desires, all right? Because nothing is more attractive to a woman than a guy that knows what he wants and is set in stone and set in his own beliefs. A man that says, I don't want that. I want this. Because you got to keep in mind, women, if you ask a woman, hey, what's your favorite book? What's your favorite drink? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite hobby? They don't fucking know. All right? Plain and simple. You ask them that, they're going to take 25 seconds just to answer you. They're not precise. All right? They don't know how to answer a simple question. That's why they need somebody to lead them. That's why they need a person to lead them. If you can't lead your woman, they're going to be leading you. And any relationship, even in the Bible, it says this. Any relationship where the man is not being led, where the man is being led, will be brought to ruin. A man has to lead a woman for a proper relationship to follow. All right? Men, if you can't find a woman that will submit to you, that woman is not worth pursuing. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And it's going to take you a long time to find one, for sure. Patience is a virtue. That's why I would recommend everybody to study Stoicism. Understand how to find and control your emotions. Because if you control your emotions, nobody else can control how you feel. And if nobody can control how you feel, you can't be swayed, you can't be purchased, you can't be bought. You are steadfast in how you feel, and people will notice it. People will notice it, and people will respect you because you do not sway in your opinions and you do not sway in how you feel about certain subjects. I mean, I feel like if I could speak to my younger self, I would tell him, focus on yourself. Don't pursue women. Don't chase after women. Enjoy your time, but mainly focus on yourself. Because ultimately, When you are older, that is when you are going to truly attract the women that you want. You have to set aside a boundary. And if anybody pushes past that boundary, you have to tell them, I don't like that, and I don't want you doing that. And people will respect you for it. And if they don't, cut them loose. You have to be okay with pushing certain people aside and saying, hey, I don't want you in my space anymore. You have to be okay with the idea of letting go. And it's a very hard concept for people, the idea of letting go. Most people don't want conflict. Most people don't want the idea of, oh, well, this person's not going to like me anymore. This person's going to feel a certain way. So what? So what? Ultimately, what matters at the end of the day is how you feel about yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing that people don't have anymore is self-respect, self-admiration. People don't feel that they have any self-worth. And when you have no self-worth, how can you ever go out in the world and even smile, hold your head up high, hold your shoulders broad? I mean, there's so many men nowadays that feel worthless, that feel that they don't have a purpose anymore because they're constantly told, "Oh, you're sexist, you're this and that, you're worthless, you're a man, you should feel ashamed for what? For what? You've done nothing wrong. Majority of men have done nothing wrong in this world, but have had society tell them you should be ashamed of yourself because you are a man, and that's a problem. Men need to understand how to become resilient, become self sufficient. Most women are never going to understand the struggles of the everyday man, the common man. They're never going to understand what men go through in here mentally. Men go through so many battles, so many self defeats, so many self hates that most people most women want to understand what men go through. And that's okay because most men will. If you never ever talk to a buddy of yours about your mental health, I would say reach out to your best friend, right? Just tell them how you're feeling. And I guarantee you, they will sit down with you, tell you, hey, I've been having the same thoughts. It's not easy. Life's hard. Life is real fucking hard. And you can have a one on one with your best friend. And that's the most important moments in life is when you can let the guard down and let a friend in and share how you actually feel. I've had those moments a time or two when I was at my lowest and my best friends were there for me. Truly, my parents don't even know about the lowest moments of my life, the moments I was most scared. I went to my best friends for that because I was genuinely terrified and they helped me out. And if you don't feel like you have a best friend to reach out for about those things, I guarantee you do. Go to your pastor, right? Go to a priest and talk about these things. They will listen to you. I understand there's so many people that aren't really religious, but those people will listen to you. Those people actually do care. Even if you aren't religious, just go there and talk to them. They will actually listen to you and lend you a helping hand, a shoulder to cry on. And that's another thing. I think religion is it's kind of having a turning point recently. So many men are coming back to religion. So many young men are coming back to religion and finding out that the current society that we live in is so hedonistic. It's so full of horrible, horrible things that don't benefit society as a whole, and in return, this makes society to be a bad aspect to live in. It doesn't give a net positive. You see nothing but OnlyFans, racism, sexism, hatred, and overall just hedonistic things. Whereas young men, they all they want is a normal, quiet lifestyle, a homely woman to raise their children, right? And a set schedule. That's all men want. They want security for their children, and they want safety for their children. That's all men want, ultimately. And ultimately, in order to secure these things, you have to have yourself in a situation to where you are attracting those that want to be in that situation. My best advice to men would be focus on yourself. If you build it, they will come. And it's hard. It's really hard to ignore the outside, you know, the outside signals, the outside wants and desires, and focus on the inside wants and desires. Because ultimately, the flesh is weak. And if the flesh is weak, that means the mind has to be strong. The mind has to be stronger than the body. And you have to focus on what you overall need for yourself before you can focus on anything else, right? A ship that isn't built straight and right will never last at sea. A ship that's built for port will never last at sea. So many men nowadays are so desperate for the admiration of women that they don't admire themselves first, I feel like. And if you don't admire yourself, how is anybody going to ever admire you? If you don't admire yourself, how is anybody ever going to admire you? You got to focus on yourself first in order to attract anybody else. I mean, you have to suffer. Life is suffering, ultimately. And either you're going to suffer now for the enjoyment of next, or you're going to enjoy now and suffer later. I'm pretty sure Nietzsche talked about this in one of his philosophies. Is the suffering of now for the enjoyment of later versus the suffering of later for the enjoyment of now. But if I could even speak to my younger self, I would tell him, take your time, focus on yourself, establish a base around yourself, become secure with yourself, begin to love yourself before you ever focus on somebody else. Because if you yourself aren't secure, bringing somebody else into that boundary, how is that going to make them secure? If you don't love yourself, how can you ever love somebody else? Ask yourself that. If you don't love yourself, how could you ever love somebody else? Ultimately, if I mean honestly, if you yourself are not secure, how can you expect somebody else to come to you and see you as secure, see you as safe, see you as a place to be secure around? Because ultimately, women want you to be their safety, their sanctity. Women want you to be their base of operations. They want to come to you when something is wrong and have you help them understand it. They want you to understand it's okay. How are you ever going to be it's okay if you're not okay? Plain and simple. And men, you got to understand, be okay with getting a no. You have to be stoic. You can't let little things bother you because you have to look at things from the outside point of view. Look at things from the big picture. All right? Imagine this, right? You're driving from New York to LA. That's life. Your life is driving from New York to LA, are you going to let a flat tire in Arizona destroy the rest of your life? Are you going to let running out of gas in Colorado destroy the rest of your life? Are you going to let a cracked windshield in Ohio destroy the rest of your life? No, because you have such a long trek ahead of you. You have such a long journey ahead of you. How could you ever let such a small, minute little detail destroy the rest of your path? I remember when I worked at Panera Bread, of all places, I had bestowed upon me the greatest of wisdom by an old man. Me and my friend Richie, right? Richie was an older man, and he practiced music, right? Great buddy of mine, great guy, one of the best friends I had during college. But somebody came in front of us and was extremely rude, extremely impatient, very, very dismissive. And me and Richie were looking at each other like, "What's this person's problem?" And then the next guy that came in line said, "Hey guys, let me, an older gentleman, right? Deep Southern voice, very jazz, very blue jazz voice." Said, "Hey fellas, let me talk to you. Don't pay them no mind, all right? You never know what's going on with something. You never know what's going on with somebody. That person could have just lost a kid. That person could have gotten the worst kind of information they've ever had in their life. Somebody could have got cancer. You never know what somebody's going through. So never let somebody bother you about how they send you a message. Never let somebody's initial reaction change the rest of your day. Never let 15 seconds ruin the other 24 hours of the day." And I thanked that man for what he said. I gave him a handshake. I said, That's really good information, man. That's really good. That's a really good way to look at life." And that stuck with me. It's been 8 years since that event happened, and it's stuck with me ever since then because I couldn't believe what I just heard. It's always stuck with me about if somebody's ever rude to you, if somebody ever treats you a certain way, don't be quick to anger. Understand that you don't know what that person's going through. You never understand what they're thinking. That person might have just gotten the worst news they've ever received in their life so far, and they're taking it out on you. Don't let their anger, don't let their sadness destroy how you feel. Be stoic. Understand how to take somebody else's information, somebody else's feelings, store it, and not let it bother how you feel. Block that shit. Send it away. Reflect it. I mean, men overall, you just have to learn how to be able to be confident in yourself. Go to the gym, take a walk, count your calories. Understand how to be enough for yourself. Because if you're not enough for yourself, you will never be enough for a woman. Plain and simple. If you're not confident, if you're not stable, if if you can't even talk to yourself, how can you ever talk to somebody else? Plain and simple. And don't be in a hurry. Life is long. Life is very long. Do you have any idea how many people have made businesses, started journeys in their 60s, 70s, 50s, 40s, 30s? You don't have to have life figured out by the time you're 21, all right? That's just what they want you to think. That's what the Brazilians want you to think, is that you need to move out of your parents at 18, have a job, and have life figured out. Nobody has life figured out, bro. Nobody has life figured out, bro. Ask your grandfather if he has life figured out. He'll tell you, I'm just going on. I'm just keeping on. Ask your grandfather if you're blessed enough to still have your grandfather around in your life or your grandmother. Ask them, what is life? They'll tell you, I'm just keeping on. I'm still figuring it out because nobody has life figured out. Life is a long, long trek. Like I said, imagine you're going from New York to LA and you have a pothole, you have you have low gas, you have low oil, you get a crack in the windshield. It's just a little hindrance upon the way. And if you ain't got God in your life, I would tell you find him. Plain and simple. There is a greater purpose in this world, but I'm not here to preach the gospel. All right, that's a journey, and it's a story for another day. But I would say that is a great way to understand this life. Is that it's a test. Understand that. Shoot, myself. I had 2 dates set up today and one tomorrow, and they all fell through. And I even said to myself, I even prayed to God. I said, "Hey, let me understand if I don't need this right now." Because I even felt in myself, I don't want to see these people. I don't want to go on these dates. I don't need this distraction in my life right now. I was even talking to a coworker. I said, "Yeah, I'm supposed to see somebody tomorrow. I'm supposed to see somebody the day after." And he said, "Well, why do you say it like that?" I said, "I don't want to. I don't want to see these people. I want to enjoy myself. I want to, take my time to settle my affairs. I want to enjoy myself." And what happened? All those things went off my plate. God will never put you in a situation that you're not suitable to face. All right? Understand that. Understand that. God will never put you in front of a test that you can't pass. Now, sometimes those tests are going to be real tough. Sometimes those tests are going to be real tough and you feel like you just can't do anything but fail, but you will succeed. And you're going to succeed in ways that you don't even understand how you succeeded them, but you will succeed them. But understand this: young men need to understand how to be comfortable with themselves, how to make a strong base, make a strong foundation. Because if you don't have a strong foundation, you can't build upon it. If you start building upon a weak foundation, it will rot, it will crumble, and it will fall. And the woman that you've built that foundation with will leave. All right. We've all heard about the horror stories. You marry a woman 20 years down the road, she divorces you, she takes everything you have, she takes the dog, she takes the kids, she takes the house. You don't want to be in that situation, gentlemen. You want to have your affairs set in front of you, and you want to find a good woman, all right? And you got to test them. You gotta test these women, and you got to understand and be comfortable with the idea of saying no. All right, not enough women nowadays hear the word no. And if you say no to a girl and she doesn't like it, consider that a blessing. You have to understand what a blessing is from people, because you're going to tell somebody, I don't like that you did that. I don't want you to do that. And if they don't respect it, guess what? They just gave you a big old red flag for you to look at and say, no, swipe left. Swipe left. What are you doing? I was at a point in my life to where I was pleading, I was desperate. I didn't want somebody to leave. And I looked at myself in the third person in that moment. I said, why am I so afraid of this person leaving? And I had a very, very hard talk with myself and with somebody else I was at with the time about why I felt that way. And it changed how I thought about overall interactions with people, especially women. And from that point forward, I approach relationships very differently. And I understood how to set boundaries. I understand how to set expectations for myself and for the people I'm pursuing. Gentlemen, you have to be able to set boundaries and expectations. And if somebody doesn't meet them, and if somebody oversteps your boundaries, be okay with saying no. You have to be okay with saying no. Be okay with being by yourself. Be okay with not being okay. Okay? If you're not comfortable with yourself, how can you ever expect somebody to be comfortable around you? Seriously. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. The cigar is almost done. It's pretty late in the morning, and I'm pretty tired. But I felt compelled to send this message out there for the young men in the world, because if I was 19, 20, 21 years, 22 years old, what would I say to myself to give myself a little bit of confidence, to give myself a good word, an idea about how to go about the rest of my life, how to approach relationships with people, and understand the dynamics of relationships as well. And you have to understand how to set boundaries, ultimately. You have to understand how to set boundaries, be comfortable with yourself, and understand how to say no to women. Like there's times where I'm legit happy to cancel or hear somebody canceling on plans because I just want to spend time with myself. And younger me wouldn't even be able to fathom that. Younger me was so desperate to hang out with girls. Younger me was so desperate to have plans. Where now I look forward to canceling. I want to spend time with my boys. I want to spend time with my friends and develop my relationships with them. Develop, lifelong memories with my friends, because ultimately at the end of the day, those people are going to be the people that have your back no matter what. And that's something you have to have set in stone. Because if a girl leaves you and you don't have friends, who are you going to rely on? Who are you going to hang out with? Who are you going to talk to? Who's going to help you through dark times? Because it sure as hell ain't going to be some random woman. She don't want those problems. She wants you to be secure. You can't go to a woman with your big problems. All right. If she sees an inkling of weakness, she's going to be turned off most times. That's something they don't tell you. That's something I had to learn the hard way. So yeah, man, just learn how to be comfortable with yourselves before you learn to be comfortable with somebody else. Because nothing is more attractive to a woman than a guy that is confident, set in stone, and it's his way or the highway, ultimately. And a lot of women are not going to like this. A lot of women are not going to like a guy that says something and stands by it. And those women, you have to be comfortable enough to say, okay, on to the next one. You have to be in the mindset of, okay, on to the next one. You have to be, listen, when you get to that mindset, you will legit be giddy with joy to be able to say, okay, bye bye. I don't want you anymore. And you'll see how the women react. When a woman tells you, sorry, something came up. Oh, this day is not going to work. Sorry, I have to cancel. Don't respond. They want your response. And if you deny them a response, it eats them alive. Plain and simple. Because all you are to women nowadays is an option. When you make a plan with a woman, she sets out all of her plans. All right. This is very good info. If you're gonna set up a date, make sure you set up 3 dates minimum. 3 dates minimum, and stagger them. All right. One at 4 o'clock, one at 5 o'clock, one at 6 o'clock, or whenever your free times are. All right. Stagger your dates. All right. Set 3 dates for the same date. Don't set it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. You set 3 of them on the same day. And you take the information, because understand this. Understand this. Your plans with these women, one of them or 2 of them are going to cancel. It, I know you've been in this situation before where you set up dates, you set up plans, and the woman that says, hey, oh, don't hate me. Don't hate me. I got to cancel. Something came up. You know what that is? That is legit a woman having 6, 8, 10 plans And guess what? You were bottom of the leaderboard because women set their plans up accordingly. The best option, next best option, following best option. The rest are shit. All right? That's how women deal with men vying for their attention. All right? And guess what? If you weren't the best plan, live with it. Take note of it and set them to the side. All right? That's why you set up 3, 4 dates possible on the same day. Because one or two of them are going to cancel, and the rest of them that are okay, choose your best option. Choose the one you like the most. Choose the prettiest one or the one that is most set to your expectations. And you pursue that one. Tell the other one, hey, something came up, and set up a date for the following day. Because guess what? If you cancel on a woman, they love that shit. All right? Trust me. They love that shit. If you cancel on a girl when you already have something set in plan, they get squirmy. They like, why are you canceling on me? I can't believe you did this. Who do you think you are? They love that shit. They eat that shit up. Trust me. As a man, you know how you feel when a woman says, "Oh, sorry, something came up. I can't hang out today." That's exactly how women feel. Times 2, times 10, because they're not told that shit. They're not told, "Hey, I actually can't do anything today. I gotta cancel." They're not used to that shit. Plain and simple. So that's my recommendation, man. All right, be comfortable with yourselves and understand how to set boundaries and understand how to set limits for yourself. Be comfortable. Be comfortable with yourself before you ever expect somebody else to be comfortable around you. It's gonna take years. It's gonna take months. It's gonna take a long time before you become the person you want to be, because you have to be the person you want to be before you ever expect somebody else to come towards you. Because you have to understand, women, majority of women aren't going to go along with you at the journey. Women wait at the finish line and meet you there. 90% of women are not going to go along with you through the race. Majority of women are going to wait for you at the finish line and take their pick. And that's just how it is. And you have to understand that and be okay with it. You have to be okay with it because that's just the way of life. All right, men, we have our own ways with women, and women have their own ways with men. You got to understand that, and you have to be okay with that. Plain and simple. Let me know if you enjoy this little monologue. I've thought hard about making a video like this for a long time, and I just felt the urge to make one finally. So if you did enjoy it, let me know. Comment, like, let me know how you thought, and I'll maybe upload a couple other videos like this as well, just to, you know, encourage young men in their paths along life, because it's a hard road. It really is. Men, we have a real hard road ahead of us, and we need all the encouragement we can get, all the positive words, all the truth and honesty that we can get, without buy my course, without some bullshit put in front of us. He's saying, "Oh, you got to do this, do this," but you can only do that if you buy my course. I'm not here to do that bullshit. I'm here to tell you how it is, because honesty is the best medicine. You know, honesty is the best medicine for men. So yeah, if you enjoy this, let me know, and I will gladly do another couple of series of it. Thank you.